Hey folks, Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalist. Stick around for this one because it's one of those real world survival discussions about when crap really goes down, when it gets serious for real. We're not talking about theories or suppositions. This is what's happening right now in Argentina. It's the moment that it's the closest to going to hell, falling apart, just like it did in 2001. There's a few differences. In 2001, the crisis was definitely an economic one. The country was simply broke. It had been running on fumes for years with an unrealistic currency exchange rate. That's not happening right now, but the problem is political. The problem is the kind of thing that survivalists don't like to talk about because it's not popular, but it's a very real thing. The problem is that in the last elections this Sunday, the Kirchner government, the Kirchner people got a lot of support. They got a 15-point lead in the primary elections. So what's happening is that everything is pointing towards them coming back. The Kirchner, Cristina Kirchner, who ruined the country for 12 years along with her husband, just looting the country with any shame whatsoever. Just widespread corruption and robbery. Those guys are about to win again. So the problem is that right now you have a president, which is Mauricio Macri, who's a guy that's been doing things right for the last 4 years, but rebuilding a destroyed country is not something easily done. You don't fix what's been broken for 70 years in 4, and definitely not when, unfortunately, economic times had not been that great. The main export of Argentina is agricultural. It wasn't priced very well, so it wasn't very beneficial from that point of view. Still, a lot has been done with him as president. There's been more construction of infrastructure than ever before. That's what you get done when you're not stealing and looting from the country all day long. But with this lead that Cristina Kirchner has and is poised as to win the following elections, what happens is the following. Imagine that you have your country, and imagine that you're about to elect Nicolás Maduro, like in Venezuela, so as to lead things. What could possibly go wrong? Well, absolutely everything could go wrong. By that I mean that no investor, no one with a cent, no one with an entrepreneur mentality, no one with some common sense is going to be sticking around for that. Everyone's going to be leaving. There's not going to be any foreign investors. There's not going to be any local investors either. Everyone's going to be sheltering and either escaping or just waiting to see what happens. That is terrible for the economy. And this is what Mauricio Macri, the president of Argentina, said yesterday. And he actually had to apologize for saying that because people immediately got all butthurt saying, what, you're blaming us for voting someone else? And the reality is that yes, it is your fault, because if you vote for that kind of mess, you have to be responsible for what's coming. It's, if you vote for Chavez or Maduro in Venezuela, then you are responsible to a great degree for what ends up happening in your country. This is the exact same thing. So with that being the scenario you're in it, as soon as this information went out in the open, the currency dropped like 25, I think even 30% in just a matter of hours. The stock market in Argentina dropped 60% because all of a sudden the companies in Argentina are just about to become companies as if they were in Venezuela, with the new people taking charge, if they actually end up winning. So what is happening right now is that people in Argentina are preparing as best as they can, and there are a few interesting things to notice. I'm going to be going through 5 points about the 5 things I see most people over there preparing on, and this is based on conversations, on some of the discussions in the Facebook groups where preppers and like-minded people hang out, what I hear being commented, what I'm being told. Basically, it's 5 things. By far, the one thing everyone is doing right now is running to the supermarket and stocking up on food and that sort of thing. The buying of basic food supplies went up 40% just yesterday. 40% up because everyone went and bought everything they could in terms of food. And that makes a lot of sense, especially in a country like Argentina, where we know that it's a direct relationship between how much the currency is worth and the prices. As soon as the currency dropped 30%, everything goes up 30% as well, and this is just going to be getting worse. I think it jumped the peso jumped from the peso to dollar relationship. I mean, so $1 is worth 45 pesos. All of a sudden, $1 is worth 60 pesos. That basically means, I mean, the dollar is still the same. Nothing is happening to the dollar. The peso is the one that is plunging in value. People just understand that with a very poor economy and very poor future, then the currency is worth very little. That directly affects food prices, which in many ways you would wonder why, because the production of food is local in Argentina. But of course you have people that are speculating on, if I have a pound of rice or wheat or whatever it is, that has an internationally priced value. So why am I going to be selling it here when I can sell it for its real value abroad? So that is something that is unfortunately happening. The second thing that people are stocking up is basically household supplies. They're like toilet paper, soap, washing machine stuff. All those supplies that you're going to be needing anyway. And this makes a lot of sense. This is basic common sense. This is preparedness 101. The stuff that you're going to be needing eventually, no matter what. That's stuff you want to have, and especially if it's likely to go up in price quite a bit. Now, for most preppers in the United States and in more stable countries, it's not so much about the price, it's about availability, the thing that worries people. So if something bad happens and there's a disruption in the chain of supply, you want to have those things, because again, you're going to be needing them eventually. In the case of Argentina, it's about having them, most of all because of the prices going up, and also because there could be disruptions because of different possible outcomes of what's happening right there. The thing is this, let's suppose that things go as it seems that they're going to be going. Cristina Kirchner wins, she's back in power, and the country does a 180-degree turn and heads straight to Venezuela. It's not going to be happening overnight, but you're going to be seeing wide inflation through the roof, because no one's going to be investing a single cent in Argentina. Everyone that thought that now was the time to invest in Argentina because of Macri, they're going to be leaving. You will have that, and then it's going to be a slow process of turning into Venezuela. It's not going to be happening overnight, because Argentina is not Venezuela in large part thanks to Macri winning 4 years ago. He pretty much saved the country from that. People don't realize that. It's a shame that so many Argentines don't see that they were this close to becoming Venezuela. That guy saved them from that, and he gets no appreciation for it. All he's getting is everything still sucks. Everything is not great. Well, it was never great to begin with. Why would it be great 4 years later? He had done surprisingly enough in spite of that. But that's what you're looking at, and it's not just about the prices. It's going to be quite dangerous as well. And the loss of freedom, that's no joke. That's something that she took very good care of, the way in which she polluted the education system, which is still a mess thanks to her. But the crime problem is going to be huge as well. Going back to this idea that a criminal is not really, that the victim is really not a victim, and the criminal is not really a criminal because he's actually a victim of the capitalist society, that kind of bullshit. That just empowers criminals to be more violent and be more vicious, and that's exactly what they do. So number 3 is basically that, safety. I know a lot of people that are very worried about safety right now, and they're looking at possible, because on the other hand, let's suppose that Macri magically, by some miracle, pulls it off and he actually wins and he stays in power. These people, they're not civilized. These people are some of the worst crap that ever walked the face of the earth. They are vicious and violent, and they will try to overthrow him. If they couldn't manage to do it through votes, they're going to be trying to do what they've been doing all along these 4 years, which is just overthrow him through violence. So you either have it's very crappy, let's be completely honest, because there's really no good outcome. I mean, the best possible outcome would be immediate violence right now. Macri wins. They try to overthrow him. He's not stupid, and I think he's quite smart, and he has a good grasp on the police and military are definitely backing him. So it would be some elements rising against him and trying to create a lot of instability and looting. They will do that. They've done that before. They did it in 2001 with De La Rua when everything went to hell. So we know that's the kind of thing that happens over there. That's the kind of thing that Peronists are very well known for. So for that sort of thing, you have to be prepared as well. And there's a lot of people getting these. There's lots of people getting these as well. So they're preparing for violence. And yes, you should be buying lots of these as well. What I was talking about with some of the folks there in the forums is because the thing is this, there's a lot of people that, like myself, we went through 2001 in Argentina, and there's folks over there in the forums and the discussion boards saying, I'm a 2001 survivor. And those guys kind of get it, you know. But there's lots of younger folks that have not seen none of that. Maybe if you're in your early 30s, 20s, you have no freaking idea what that was like. So they just don't have a clue, and they think, they just don't get it. When violence starts spreading because of looting, because of attempts to overthrow the government, you just stay put. You stay in your home. You just don't get involved in none of that crap, because there's no good that could possibly come. Besides that, you are making your own statement by staying put, by not being part of the problem. If you're out there, nothing you're saying is going to be supporting the government that's trying to keep peace. Right? If you're out there, you can easily be confused with the mass of people that are supposedly rising against the government. So just stay put, stay in your home, be prepared. One of the things that I've heard people say is they only loot supermarkets and grocery stores. Yes, that's very much true. But there's been people that had their houses broken into during the mess, and they had their houses looted as well. It's not the most common thing. But you still have to be prepared, because it does happen. I know for a fact that it does, because it happened to people that I know. And they had nothing left. Once they ransacked their place, they even tore out the walls looking for hidden cash. They even stole the toilets and basins from the bathroom and the kitchen. They just took everywhere. There's been cases in which they stole the wire from the walls for the copper. I mean, they just trashed the place completely, especially if you're not home, which is kind of a contradiction with some of those popular prepper things about, pretend no one's home. No, make sure they know that the lights are on, make sure you have one of these, and make sure you fire around if you see someone trying to break in, because no one's going to be going against a wall of lead. No one wants that. They're going to be looking for the unarmed guy. They're looking for the house that is empty. Those are the ones that they mostly go after. So be prepared for that as well. And this is the way in which you prepare for it. There's no other way. I've been doing this for a very long time. I've talked with. It's not just about Argentina. It's been over a decade of being constant interaction and learning from people and from all over the world. And they tell you their stories. They tell you what they've gone through, what they've learned. Unfortunately, many times the hard way. That's why it's best if you're watching this kind of thing and getting this information. I've lost count of how many people told me, I wish I had a gun with me when this happened. When they were kicking down their doors, when they're being attacked, when they had their family. People that wish they had a gun to defend themselves. People that even wish that, if I'm going to be going down, at least, it's not about being Rambo. It's not about trying to be an action hero. It's not about being John Wick. It's about having at least the basic decency of, I'm going to be going down anyway. I'd rather go down on my own terms and take as many of these sons of bitches as I can. That's really what it comes down to for many people. But being prepared for this makes a big deal. One of the other things I was explaining folks over there that were asking is, and this is where you start looking a little bit like a nutcase, but I was explaining the use of body armor, which especially in South America, I say, oh, you're wearing body armor? Yeah, if you're submerged in this kind of violent society, and all of a sudden you're going very often to the ATMs, because again, the same thing that happened in 2001 can very easily happen again. ATMs running out of money, you going there to get as much money as you can one time a week. When you do those things, when you go to the bank, those are moments in which, if you have body armor, you just put it on. You're not wearing it all day long, but in those cases you do. And it may be like over the top or extreme, but I'll tell you what, there's lots of people that caught a bullet when doing those things. So it makes perfect sense that when you go to the ATM, when you go to a bank, make large extractions, take all the precautions you can, go with friends if possible even, but the body armor thing is a big deal, especially and for home defense as well. Why the hell not? If I hear someone breaking into my house, I'm going to be putting body armor on, I'm going to be getting a gun. If I have the time to do that, I'm going to be doing it. If I don't, I don't. But if you don't have that possibility at all to begin with, then it's just worse for you, no one else, and who cares? At the end of the day, it's your life that's on the line there, and when that moment takes place. Number 4, the other thing I'm seeing people doing is networking a lot. Back in 2001, there wasn't really as much of a prepper thing. The prepper scenery that just didn't exist. It didn't exist even in the United States much. It was mostly the old school survivalist thing and more of a Y2K, nuclear war survivalist type of thing, but the prepper thing was not, that just wasn't there, especially not in Argentina, and as far as I can remember in the United States it wasn't a big thing either. So yeah, it definitely was. It was not the same thing. There was not a single website, a single Argentine website that talked about preppers. The word didn't exist. Survival, it was just wilderness survival. There was very little in terms of urban survival. I'm not trying to say anything that is not real, but I think I was the first one that started writing, and I did it in English because I did it in English because of that, because there was no one else in my country to talk about these things with. So that's how I first got involved in the community. But now it does exist, and now there's lots of guys that are networking and trying to get along and organizing how we're going to be doing this. So yeah, it's something that fortunately now it exists. It's widespread, and thanks to the internet, people are easily connecting much better. Now, in 2001, there was already internet, of course, but there was not that community. That community did not exist. That's a big advantage, because it's so much better when you have friends to count on when these things happen, especially like-minded people. Number 5, maybe the more number 5 would be the one that's more debatable, depending on personal opinions and what you want to be doing with your life. But location, a lot of people are looking at changing where they are, and this is very strongly influenced again by the prepper movement, which did not exist before. It does exist now when this crisis is taking place in Argentina, and there's lots of folks saying, I'm going to be moving to the country, because they've seen it in American TV shows and that sort of thing. I'm going to be moving to the country because this is going to be getting mad. This is going to be getting crazy. So I'm moving to one of the provinces. And to be completely honest, there's been people throughout time that just got fed up of the city, just moved to the country and are very happy there. I know some folks that did just that. Now, it's also true that many guys are telling them, dude, you're not going to be changing anything. You're going to be stuck in the middle of a big economic crisis, stuck in the middle of La Pampa, and there's no job for you there, nothing, unless you get one of the good ones, which sometimes there are. In Rio Negro, I know there's some good jobs, but it's not just a matter of running crazy to the country. If you're going to be running to the south where there's good jobs, at least in some places I know they're making good money. So if you're landing a good job there, absolutely go nuts. Now you're going to be losing many of the things that you have in the capital. Argentina is a very underpopulated country. It has 44 million people, I believe, give or take, in a huge country that is about the extent of, I don't know, all of the European Union all at once. It's huge and it's very underpopulated. So you have most people focused living in Buenos Aires, especially in the capital, but they do that for a reason, because that's where everything is. That's where people get the jobs, that's where people get the better health care, that's where people have some of the better opportunities in terms of entrepreneurship and employment. So unless you actually land some good deal somewhere else, you will be missing out on many of those things. And some folks notice that are saying, yeah, I'm not going to be moving to Jujuy or El Chaco, some of the poorer provinces up in the north, because it simply doesn't work. At the same time, you have some people that are really considering leaving the country after this, which is, I mean, let's be completely honest. It's what I did myself, so I'm not going to be judging anyone for doing the exact same thing I did. But there's people saying, yeah, if she wins, I'm not going to be sticking around for this one. And I completely agree. I understand as much as anyone else. I understand people that are saying, no, this is my country. I'm not letting them win. I'm staying here. I'm fighting the good fight. I understand that as well. That's just not me. I don't see the point in going against 60% of the country that wants to be what it seems to be heading towards. Look, if you're in Venezuela and you've been living with Chavez, Maduro, and everyone is happy with that, what the hell could you possibly do? It's like fighting against the current, punching waves in the beach. You're really achieving nothing. You're just throwing away your life. Now, does change happen? Yes. But you know what? It's not just because of one guy. There's always going to be someone that's going to be concentrating, but it has to be a group effort. It has to be those same assholes that voted for that socialism have to be so fed up of it that realize once and for all that they were wrong and vote for something else. Until that point happens, it's really just a waste of your time. Are you just going to be wasting your life until everyone changes their mind? I don't agree with that. If you are of a different opinion, absolutely respect that. That's one of the other things that has been lost, the lack of ability to understand different opinions. I'm all for that, and I've been that way for quite some time. If you are a communist, if you're a socialist, if you are whatever it is you are, that's your thing. Go with that. Now, don't expect me to live that way. Don't expect me to move to Cuba and live under a communist regime, because I just don't feel like it. If you feel like doing that and everyone agrees on doing that, then that sucks for me. Good for you. Sucks for me. I'll have to do something else with my life. But that's one of the things that has been lost, the inability to understand a different opinion. And that's one of the things the Kirchner regime has been very well known for, not tolerating dissent, a different opinion, an opposition. Very anti-democratic, but I don't know, it is what it is. Guys, sad, but this is the topic of this video. Lots of good stuff in terms of real preparedness. This is what you do when things go to hell, like they're doing right now. About my last book, my third book, Street Survival Skills, it is pure coincidence, but this is just happening right now. Just happens to be the exact moment that I just finished publishing my book. That's up to Amazon mostly, the time in which they upload it, and well, I uploaded it, but they approve it. So. And there's a process. That's why I haven't done a specific video. I don't even have the book with me right now. So it's available in Amazon. You can buy it. The link is there below. But it's like a week until you can do the look inside thing, so as to see the index and a few of the pages. That's all on Amazon, and it takes a while. Even the promotions, if they do the discounts, which I hope they do soon enough. Surprisingly enough, they did it for Amazon.es, Amazon Spain. They did a 35% discount on the book. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that they do it for the one in US as well. But if not, the price is $24.95, $97, I think. It's and you're getting a very good book. That's something I'm very proud of. And dude, you don't like it, you can return it to Amazon. It's sold and shipped by Amazon. If you don't like it, you can send it back for free. I'm not going to be offended by that either. As I said, I respect all opinions. If yours is very different from mine, that's perfectly fine too. Guys, take care. Have a great day. See you on our next video.